And the Checka Pro Radio Show starts now. Here's your host, the man with a hard hat and tool belt, Checka Pro Joe.
I see on the call screen my good friend from Phoenix, Arizona is on the line, Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door. Hey, Tommy, how are you?
Excellent. I'm having a great day. We had a hiring event yesterday, and it turned out amazing. We had several food trucks here. We had dessert. We had shaved ice. And had a great turnout, almost 100 people, amazing people, and just super, super excited that we had such a great turnout. We had the radio stations out here, a couple of them. I mean, they had their big trucks. It's pretty special. It really gives me a lot of positivity, I guess I would say. It's just a really good turnout, and going to hire a lot of people because of it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And I saw Facebook social media posts that looked like an exciting thing. I wish I could have been there. Unfortunately, I couldn't. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tommy Mello and his team over at A1 Garage Door Service in Phoenix and nationwide are the leading garage door company. Tommy used to work in the truck, and he doesn't do that much in the truck anymore, but he trains very well his people. You guys are in like 29 different markets, is that correct?
Yep, 29 markets.
29 markets. And Tommy, what I want to talk to you about today, because we get this question all the time at Checka Pro, is why shouldn't I do this myself? So my question to you is, what are the top 5 reasons that our listeners should hire a professional company like A1 Garage Door versus doing it themselves?
So there's a couple of things here to unpack. Finding the right company is also a big task, but one of the things we do at A1 is we don't just look at what broke. It would be like, Joe, for example, it would be like you looking at your brakes, and maybe you know how to do brakes. You and your dad used to do them back in the day when you guys worked together on a vehicle. The problem is the brakes do one thing, the calipers do another thing, the rotor does something else. And you could replace those brakes every 15 days if you don't know that the rotors are bad or the calipers aren't doing their job. So we just don't go in to find what's broken. We go on and find out what caused this. For example, a gear and sprocket in your opener, that wears down because the springs aren't doing their job. Springs break faster because the rollers and bearing plates aren't doing their job. Cables warp because the rails aren't perfectly centered and dialed in. So a lot of times, even other companies, but especially if you do it yourself, you end up buying a part, replacing it, and then it happens again in 6 months at the worst expected time. So number one is diagnose the full problem. So that's a big one. That's the number one reason. Number two is, I would say, do you really know what you're shopping for? Do you understand the difference between oil-tempered and Z-galvanized springs? Do you understand IPPT, inch-pound per turn? Do you really know what the cycle life is on certain parts? Do you know what you're buying? If you go to Amazon, you're buying Chinese stuff that breaks all the time. It's not American-made. It's not American steel. That's why all my spring providers will not buy any of their metal for their springs in any other country because it won't last.
So, Tommy, what you're saying is not all garage door springs are created equal.
Well, I'll tell you this, not all parts in general. Rollers, we use what's called a Z bearing. It's good for 100,000 cycles. If you buy stuff on Amazon, you're lucky to get 7,000 cycles. So we're going to get it. You do the math, 7 into 100. It's a lot. It's just about 15 times longer where our parts are going to last.
Yeah, not only are they going to last longer, but correct me if I'm wrong, the garage door is going to run smoother with your rollers.
It's going to run smoother. It's going to be quieter. It's not going to give you problems. And that's the people are not buying a garage door repair. They're buying comfort, really. They're saying, I want to hit the button. I want it to go up and down. They don't really care what we do as long as it works for a long time. It's quiet and it doesn't give them issues. And that's what I think. Peace of mind is what they're buying. Obviously, no one says, I really want to buy a garage door part. They say, I just want a door that works every time I park my car and every time me and my kids need to leave. If I'm going to a soccer practice or I got to get to work, we're there to make sure that happens.
Okay, number 3, what would be a third reason that they should hire a company like A1 Garage Door versus doing it themselves?
Well, the biggest thing, another huge issue, is you're looking at 250 pounds of torque. Whether you mess with a cable, a bracket, a spring, there are, Joe, I can show you 35,000 incidences a year where people lose a finger, crack their head, and I'm talking professionals too. I mean, look, you take the wrong bolt out, I mean, you could be handicapped, and never take this lightly. This is a serious thing. It'd be like messing with a leaf spring on a car. You mess with a leaf spring on a truck, that thing's carrying so much weight. And it's just, I would never even when I was early in my days, I didn't have the training that A1 has today. I'm almost made a couple mistakes, and I've been hurt. I've ruined, my shoulder. I've snapped on a finger. Luckily, it wasn't really, really devastating. But I say it's a dangerous, dangerous job if you don't know what you're doing. You can't just simply watch a YouTube video. There are people out there that might have used to do springs and used to do this kind of stuff that maybe are qualified. And the question I would have for them is, what kind of access do they have going back to can they get the right parts? And do they know enough? Have they done it long enough to be able to diagnose the entire problem?
Yeah, everybody listen up. It is extremely dangerous. This is not just a scare tactic. It's dangerous enough to mow our lawn, but at least there's so many safety things in place. If we let go of the lawnmower stops now. When I was a kid, the thing never stopped. But in any case, when it comes to garage doors, the garage door number one's very heavy. It could come careening down on you. The spring is under high tension, and it can literally take a finger out, an eyeball out, that type of thing. There's a science to this. Hire a professional. Wouldn't you agree on this next thing, Tommy, that it is not the most expensive repair or replacement in home improvement? The garage door is one of the least expensive things and improves the home value ROI-wise the most.
Yeah, number 4 I was going to say is we got all the parts. We stock every single part. We got these massive ProMaster Dodge big vans, and they're Sprinter vans, and we'll get out there today. By the time you order the parts, if you could figure out the right ones to get, how long do you want to go? Do you want to wait a couple of weeks? And then if you get the wrong part or they don't send the right one out, and you might think you got the right one. And I've been out to hundreds of DIY people. And, I love these people. They're amazing at what they do. And they want to fix it themselves because they're engineers or mechanics or whatever. Problem I'm having is they're willing to wait 2 weeks with an unfunctional garage door, maybe a car's trapped, the kids aren't using their bikes. I think the speed of the fix is where the fourth reason comes in is we know what we're getting and we're out there the same day. I think that's a huge benefit to calling out a pro.
Absolutely. Fully stocked truck. These people are well trained. I've been to their training facility and met many of the people who do the training. And it's not that expensive. We're not talking about remodeling a kitchen here, people. We're not building a pool. We are replacing a garage door, fixing a garage door or the spring or the rollers, and so forth. I am on the line here with Tommy Mello. He is the founder and the owner. He's a chief guy over at A1 Garage Door Service. And you can reach them online easily. A1garage.com. It's A1garage.com. Simply go to Google and type it in. Number 5, what's the 5th one here? The 5th reason that you should hire a professional garage door company?
Well, there's a lot of things I look at, Joe, when I look at a garage door. I'm going to look at the fatigue of the panels because literally non-insulated doors, the panels get compromised and they tend to bend. We call it, they smile at you. When you put the door up, the bottom panel's literally folded. The trim's messed up. The opener has issues with the RPM sensor, perhaps the gear and sprocket or other things like the wall button and the safety eyes. What we do is we actually have a 151-point inspection / tune-up where we lubricate, adjust, tighten everything on the door. And you might think a repair makes sense, but it turns into this. We're looking at everything to see if a replacement would be a better solution. And I don't know any garage door company or homeowner that's got 151 things they're even coming close to look at. Most garage door companies have like a 15-point inspection, not 151. So, Remodel Magazine has come out over and over and over again, 5th year in a row, that said the garage door is the number one, more than your bathrooms, more than your kitchen, more than your aluminum siding. The garage door is the number one return on investment. So what we have is technology to build the new door, if it's possibly in your interest as a better investment. We can put this new door on your home to let you know what it would look like. We've got a lot of technology, and we're going to look for those fatigues and just give you some options that you would not know. Just like I don't know. I know how to work on vehicles. I'm not as good as my dad is, but there's no way I know as much as the dealership I bought my Nissan Titan from, right? So I think just giving all the options out there to know what you're looking at, to understand the ROI, to understand what your home will look like, because it's a game changer. And I don't think the average consumer is looking at these things. You're just saying, how do I get this thing working again? And we like to give options. And I think that's that would be number 5 for me.
No, absolutely. Options. You guys have the fully stocked truck. Everybody is very well trained. The leader in garage door technology. I have seen what you guys can do so people can see before you install the new door what it's going to look like.
That's a big advantage. People don't realize we trademarked this, but the garage door is the smile of your home. It's 40% of your curb appeal. It makes a huge difference on the optics of the home. We like to give people options and show them. You got a 20-year-old door. Have you ever thought about this? If it's fatigued, if it's not insulated, if it's a really old opener that's making a lot of noise. And those are things that we just don't think about. And if you call us out, we're just going to, here's what I like to tell people. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you should do. If you were my mom, this is exactly what I'd be doing. But I don't say that until I ask them a lot of questions. How long are you staying in the home? How often are you using the home? Are you using the garage like your front door, or do you still use your front door? We must ask a dozen questions before we're even going to talk to people about what we would recommend.
He's changing the garage door industry. Tommy Mello from A1 Garage Door Service. Simply go to a1garage.com. Tommy, as always, thank you so much for joining me here.
Hey, I appreciate it, Joe. This has been awesome. We appreciate everything you do.
A1garage.com